It's a real pleasure to share with you some of the ideas and initiatives that we've been supporting through the Elsevier Foundation to boost women scientists' participation in research for the SDGs. So this presentation is part of Theme 9 in the Gender Summit, and we're excited to be part of this. So just to be clear, I'm the director of the Elsevier Foundation. My name is Ylann Schemm. I also have a role within Elsevier leading external partnerships that focus on the SDGs. So, I want to be clear that there's a very strong commitment from the foundation, the Elsevier Foundation's funder. Elsevier is a leading scientific information solutions provider, and there's you can see our CEO, Kumsal Bayazit, on the right, has voiced an extremely strong commitment to advance women in science and to also apply a gender lens in research itself. So there's a powerful commitment there. A new inclusion and diversity board has been established to help move forward our commitment. Elsevier is determined to provide content, data analytics to help advance the UN Sustainable Development Goals, as well as women in science, wherever possible. So I want to also highlight that through a long-standing relationship and partnership with the Gender Summit, Elsevier and the Foundation have learned a great deal. We've learned that scientific publishers have a key role to play in applying a gender lens to research, including SDG research. So we've done this by tackling editorial board diversity and guidelines, sex and gender and editorial guidelines, bias and peer review, but also developing analytics in our recent 2020 gender report, which has been presented by my colleague Sarah Huggett in another session here at the Gender Summit, trying to understand what is the gender gap across many areas of research, and understanding what are the collaboration, citation, and many more. So we've over the years developed methodologies in this, and most recently, our International Center for the Study of Research was really kind of pushed a little bit, inspired, instigated by Elizabeth Politzer, founder of Portia and the Gender Summits, to look at how could we map the intersection of gender across the SDGs. And it really shows in most of the SDGs, beyond health, beyond gender, obviously, a very low integration. And you see here, this is climate change, a word cloud looking at the key areas of research, and what you see in the green areas is it's just a very, very low penetration, if you will. So this is being presented by my colleague Holly Falk-Krasinski, the full research, in another session here at the Gender Summit. So I won't go into that, but you can see there's a very strong commitment from Elsevier itself in terms of the foundation. A little bit about us: we're funded by Elsevier. We are an independent nonprofit. We have an external board. We have a budget of $1 million. I wish it were more, but we do as much as we can to promote inclusive health and research with this budget. And we're celebrating our 15th year of programming. And over these past years, we have funneled about $3 million into the advancement of women in science, and also from developing countries. So I want to go into some of the areas that we have sought to support women scientists in developing countries working in the field of SDG research, ways that we believe we can really make a difference and help boost engagement, integration, research from the global south, which is just critical for tackling these important problems. So first off, develop powerful role models. So really highlighting those successful women scientists from developing countries whose research is contributing substantially. 2, supporting the creation of women science networks in specific areas of SDG research to really build out the collaboration and the impact. 3, supporting women scientists in developing countries to actually pursue SDG research, PhD and postdoc levels. And 4, filling the pipeline early. So let me provide you with some examples of how we have done this. First off, I'd like to highlight that we have had a successful collaboration with the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World over the past 10 years, the past decade. We have supported awards for early career women scientists in developing countries. And these have been in different discipline areas. The goal has been to really raise their profiles, celebrate their work. And I can tell you, this is most recently at the American Association for the Advancement of Science meeting in Seattle in the pre-COVID world in February. We were celebrating the work of 5 incredible scientists, and you can see them, they're all holding aloft their awards. And I can tell you that by and large, they are all working in the fields of SDG research. The work they do is truly meaningful and critical. And what we really try to do, although our awards are not huge, they're often pathways to more awards, pathways to research grants, L'Oreal awards, you name it, is really highlight what they're doing. So we do a lot of storytelling, pitching to the media, writing up their research, really putting a spotlight on them. And so we're continuously also trying to understand how to improve the impact of this award. But obviously you can't do something like this in a meaningful way without really strong partners like the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World. Let me provide another example. We have a Green and Sustainable Chemistry Challenge every year, and this has been another way to highlight an SDG research area and really celebrate those strong women scientist winners. And you see here on the right, Dr. Ramia Al-Bakane from the University of Jordan, and she won the first prize last year, 50,000 euros for her work to remove toxic metal from wastewater, and to do this in a way that is environmentally sound. And so she's just, one example of someone contributing greatly in her country in this area of safe water. And I use this as an example because green and sustainable chemistry is a really burgeoning field. It's growing rapidly. Just in 4 years, you can see the exponential growth in articles. So I wanted to highlight this is, we're now in the 5th year of the Green and Sustainable Chemistry Challenge. Moving along, we also think it's critical to support networks for women working in specific areas of SDG research. So here you see a picture of a workshop in water research. These are spearheaded by COACH. This is an organization developed by Dr. Jerry Richmond, a chemistry professor from the University of Oregon, who has served as a scientific envoy, as a AAAS president, someone who passionately drives the development, the advancement of women scientists in developing countries. She's a great contributor. So we have partnered with COACH to support these workshops, and they all focus in on African women scientists working in the field of water research. And the goal is really to build those collaborations, share that knowledge, and also work across disciplines to open doors and opportunities and so forth. So this was the first in a series of 3. This was in Ghana in September 2019, and we have several more to come. But this is a proven formula that COACH has undertaken in other areas, such as nutrition and stunting, but it's a way of really also bringing women scientists, many of whom were often working in isolation from each other, to have that critical mass and that support. And you can see there was just a fantastic energy in the room and a desire to really go further with this research. Another thing that we think is very important is supporting the actual research. So with PhD and postdoc grants. And so for 4 years, this program has ended, but it's something we're very proud of and are always on the lookout to see how we could continue supporting women scientists doing research in this area. But this program was with the World Academy of Sciences and a UNESCO organization also affiliated to OWSD, which we do the awards with. And we were looking at how can we help boost the contribution by scientists in developing countries to SDG research. And every single program we did, whether they were travel grants or you can see here a picture of a scientist working in going to Vietnam, sharing her knowledge in plant biology. We always sought to make sure that 50% were provided by women, went to women scientists. So whether those were postdoc, fellowships, or PhD, or case studies, everything was 50% down the line. So I feel that we, over the course of 4 years, working closely with the TWAS team, that we did make a difference and help move the needle in the participation of women scientists in these areas. And finally, I'd like to kind of underscore the importance of starting young. And so we have starting young and coming at the STEM subjects in a way that is relevant to young girls, in a way that will really inspire them. So for instance, here we have a program with Girls Inc. in New York City, and we are supporting the development of a whole preparatory program in data analytics. And we do this through a social justice lens. And the idea is really to equip them with all the tools they need to tackle really exciting projects, things that are relevant to them in their worlds and their context. So for instance, if you think of the recent anti-racism demonstrations, Black Lives Matter, there's been, this has been a very useful angle, looking at, where do you see discriminatory practices? What does the data tell you? And this program is in the US, that's in the North, of course, but this is equally replicable in as a format, as a module, as a way into a subject in developing countries. So we'll be looking for ways to do that as well. But I think it shows you, because the young girls that are involved in this all come from households that are disadvantaged, neighborhoods that are underserved, and so it's also, I think, a very, very relevant model to look at when transferring to developing countries. So let me just quickly recap. We have sought to develop programs which fill the pipeline early, which highlight powerful role models, really tell those stories of successful women scientists working in the SDGs, to support the creation of networks for women scientists working in these areas so that they can build and make sure that their perspectives and the research they're doing, they include a gender perspective. Then also just the nuts and bolts of supporting the ability to do the research with grants. And finally, then, of course, from an Elsevier perspective, the creation of analytics and new channels for content, which really create a forum for SDG research. So I see it as both areas where the Elsevier Foundation can be instrumental in boosting engagement and supporting participation of women scientists in developing countries, but also the contributions that Elsevier as a scientific publisher can make to provide visibility, provide clarity about what's happening in SDG fields of research, and much more. So thank you so much. It's been a great honor to be able to share perspectives from our side, and I look forward to the virtual discussions and presentations across the Gender Summits. Thank you.